Hey YouTube, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again to another great episode of Comics and Stuff. My name is Devin and I am your host. Today's video is going to be where can I buy comic books online? So I was talking to a couple buddies this week and they were telling me that they they love comic books. They want to buy more comic books and kind of like make like the Devster here, where I'm surrounded by nerd stuff constantly. And they're like, where do you, I mean, they can go, they're like, Devin, we go to our regular comic shop and sure, they have some back issues, but like they don't have, CGC graded stuff. They don't have the rare stuff. They just have the back issues. And the only time that they can see find other books is at Comic-Con, and they're always overpriced. They're at con prices. So where can we buy comics? Can you buy them online? And absolutely. So I'm just going to make a quick video for people who may not know where to buy comic books online and just kind of give a quick rundown of all the different websites. Now, again, some of you guys may know all of this, and that's okay. This video is, again, for people who may not know. So if you have a friend who's curious, and some of these you may, send them over this way, and some of these you may not know, so you might learn something. First place that I'm going to mention is the obvious one, eBay. eBay is kind of like the weird one, but it's also like one of the main ones for people who are new to buying comic books online. eBay, you can find comic books in all grades. Sometimes they're overpriced, sometimes they're underpriced, sometimes they're right on the dot. Sometimes you can do a best offer. Sometimes they're at a flat price. But eBay, you can type in, and there's a huge comic book following on eBay. I run an eBay store. I'll tell you guys about that in a second. But eBay just has a huge comic book community on it. There's a lot of the larger comic book shops, comic book dealers, they all have their own eBay stores. You can buy them online. You can reach out to them and talk to them. But eBay is a great place to start if you are new to the comic book industry and just kind of want to see like what can I or can I not afford. And sometimes you really luck out. For example, I picked up a Journey into Mystery 102. That's the first appearance of Hela and Lady Sif. Hela's the bad guy in the new upcoming Thor Ragnarok movie, and it's been selling steadily for $200+. I picked one up for $80 in great condition. Maybe last week. Not last week, maybe like 3 days ago, because I'm still waiting for it to get here. But things like that. Sometimes you luck out on eBay. eBay's great. Now, number two, what I think is one of the next steps up would be Comic Connect. Comic Connect was one of the very first online, websites where you can purchase comic books and auction on or make bids on them and do best offers. Comic Connect is like, I think, one of the industry standards in my own opinion. It's a household name for me, and they hold a bunch of Guinness World Book of Records or Guinness Book of World Records for selling some of the most expensive comic books. I think they've sold like 3 or 4 copies of Action Comics #1, which is the first appearance of Superman for, I think their highest one that sold was 2.16 million. It's on their website. They talk about it because they're very proud of it, and rightfully so. That's a lot of money, and that's a big book to sell. And so Comic Connect is one of the best places to be. And Comic Connect was created by the guy at Metropolis Comics, Vincent Zarzurlo, and then his buddy Stephen Fischler, who helped create the grading scale for comic books, from 0.5 to 10.0 Gem Mint. So that's 2 huge names that go into Comic Connect. So that's a great place as well to start. I've gotten some comic books off there, and generally the prices are fair. They're more retail, but so you're not going to really get a bargain for them, but sometimes you may get lucky. Next place would be Comic Link. Comic Link, sort of the same deal as Comic Connect. Their website isn't as user-friendly in my opinion. Some of you guys might be, avid users of Comic Link. Comic Link is kind of the same par as Comic Connect, where you can find all comic books of all sorts of, like grades and just bid on them. And then one of the bigger ones besides Comic Link has been up for a long time, but one of the next biggest ones is going to be Heritage Auctions. Heritage Auctions is more of like an eBay type sort of deal, where they have different categories. They don't just focus on comic books, but at the same time, Heritage Auctions takes their comic book stuff seriously. They have curators, they have people who are the head of different comic book departments, and they set up at Comic-Con. They have an extensive inventory on all manner of comic books, and sometimes you might luck out on finding some of the most rare comics on Heritage Auctions. They have a great reputation. It's a big name, Heritage Auctions. If I could afford the comic books I want on Heritage Auctions, I would. So Heritage Auctions is a big one. Now, one of my personal favorites is mycomicshop.com. Mycomicshop.com is also one of the oldest, along with Comic Connect. And I think they are probably like the first or second oldest. They're old. They've been around for a long time. You can actually, if you go on their website, in their like about, on the very bottom of the page, you can see one of their very first ads, and it's just like it's cool to see. But mycomicshop.com not only not only works as a place to sell comic books, but it doubles as a grading guide. It doubles as a like an inventory / resource guide. I mean, check it out. So when I'm cataloging my comic books or looking for covers of comics that I might want to collect, or stories or first appearances, mycomicshop.com is the first place I go. I'll go to their website and say I want to look at Mystery in Space. I'll type in Mystery in Space. They have every single Mystery in Space comic book, even if they don't have it in their inventory listed, right? They'll have a photo of it. They'll have the date and year when it came out, permanent or important information to the story, who wrote it, who did the art, if it's the first appearance, and you can add it to a wish list. They can notify you if they get the comic book in their stock, and then they'll have it. Sometimes they'll have comic books in many different grades, and you can see them all right there next to the comic book. It'll say 10, and then you'll see which one has been officially graded, which one has been slabbed, and which ones they just kind of have, and they're kind of like, well, it's this grade. So if one is slabbed or been officially graded, it'll be in a big yellow block, and generally you're paying a premium. And then they'll also have like, say, oh, well, it's a 7.5, or like an FN. They won't give it an actual like grade number. So it'll just say FN minus, $66, and it'll just kind of say that in a little gray block instead of yellow where it's big and paying a premium. And it's really cool because you can pick it up and you can add it to your cart, and you can add things to your collection already so people can see what you have. And then they have monthly auctions. I mean, mycomicshop.com is awesome. I mean, I'm ranting about it because I love it. It's probably my favorite website to go to when I'm doing research. And then 2 more to go. Pedigree Comics is also a great spot online. Pedigree Comics, as you can tell from the name, they try to focus on pedigree comics that come from large original owner collections, but they also focus on high grade comics, like almost only. Like Pedigree Comics, I don't ever see anything like below like a 7.0 unless it's like a book that's like $100,000 or something like that. Normally I every time I go on their website, all I see is 9.2s, 9.8s, or comics that are from Pedigree collections. And Pedigree collections are really cool. If you aren't sure what a Pedigree comic is, I'm actually going to put a card up in the top corner here. You can click that and it'll go to my video that talks about what Pedigree comics are. And then a couple more spots. There's the International Comic Exchange. I'm a little new to it, so I don't really know how Comic Exchange works. I don't have a lot of experience with Comic Exchange, or the International Comic Exchange, but check it out if you can. If you find out more about it than I do, please comment below. I'd love to hear about it and hear your experience. And then one of my other favorite spots is Greg Reese, Rare Comics. Greg Reese he's a great guy. I've met him one time, and then they came over to and then his company's come over to my the Comic Cons in this area a few times, and I've met the workers. But they're all really nice. They all want to make sure that we get the comics we want. They do layaway if it's going to be an expensive book. And it's a really cool business. Greg Reese, that's sort of where I would like to be in life at some point, is to be dealing that scale of comic books just as a local business guy. Greg Reese, Rare Comics, so check it out. That's really it. Those are the big named online comic shops that I can think of at off the top of my head. Again, my personal, I have an eBay store. You can find me under Nerd Shop. That's nerd_shop. My logo is a little circle dude with glasses, and he's got like pocket protection. Anyways, it's very stereotypical. But I try to deal in budget comics. Comics that are going to be between a 3.0, or probably actually as low as a 1.8 and as high as like a 7.5. Anything, or maybe an 8.5. But I try to kind of work for the people who are collecting on a budget. So if you ever need something, please look me up, and I can always help you find something if you need it. You can also message me here on YouTube or on my email, comicsandstuff1@gmail.com. But anyways, but yeah, those are some of the best online comic shops that I can think of. So I guess having that said, that's really it. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure that you guys subscribe. Share this with your friends. Tell me what your experiences are. Tell me if I missed any that you guys forgot. I'd love to hear it in the comments below. And that's really it, you guys. So thanks for checking in and listening. And if you guys would feel free to, please check in next week. So that's it. All right, YouTube. I'll see you next week.